Hey, what's up guys? This is Oakley and we're going to be playing on, I keep messing up the name, I think it's Grassy Flatlands, I never bother to check. Anyways, it's an open plain map. So I am fielding Great Britain. I have 3 rifles, 4 foot, 5 elite infantry, 1 of these 10th Hussars, and then 2 of these King's German Light Dragoons. And what I'm trying to do initially off the bat is bait my opponent into sniping my general. So what I'm going to do is move my force off in that direction, leave my general here. These guys are going to be hidden, and so I was hoping to draw out some of his cavalry, snipe those guys, but these guys were going to stay in close support. My tactics are going to change, however, because look at the map and look at how France is deployed. This is a very smart deployment, something you'll see people do a lot online. Huge lines. So he has these pretty good infantry, Swiss foot, Polish legions, etc. And he's stretched them to the max, trying to basically envelop any force. This is basically as thin a line as you can get. Back that up with chasseurs. So these guys, the way he did them, these are thicker than usual. The way he did that was he spread them basically in line formation like this, Polish legion. Once they're fully spread out, then you click form into light infantry doctrine and they'll spread out even more. So my guess is that's how he got them so thin. Anyways, his cavalry is also charging forward. These are chasseurs à cheval, definitely warding off any of my cavalry charges. Now my thinking here is, okay, how do I beat this? And I took a look at the map and it kind of reminded me of Gaugamela, where you have this force here, being myself, pretty much outnumbered, outstretched, and the only advantage we really have going for us is superiority in quality. So I'm going to try and recreate Gaugamela. That's what this is going to be, using Napoleonic troops. So you might ask, how am I going to do that? Well, if you think back historically, how did Alexander do that? What he did is he decided to hold one front and then sort of punch through the enemy's flank, charge through to the heart, and essentially stab the opponent in the heart. Now the way he's going to open up that opportunity is by charging around the flank, pulling the opponent with him. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm pulling these 10th Hussars here, pulling this infantry over here, and I'm pulling the King's Legion and these troops in column over here. I am, however, keeping these troops positioned over here because I will intend to swing back on that flank. Anyways, look at the desired effect that's happening. These light infantry guys, I can't tangle with these guys. I only brought 3. He has about 5, it looks like. So he brought the max possible according to the rules. I can't take those guys in a head-on fight. So what I'm going to try and do is pull them out of position. And you can see here, yep, it's pulling his troops further and further out of position. Most importantly, his cav, just like at the Battle of Gaugamela, his cavalry is going to follow and they're going to be out of position. That's very important. Now let's start to see what my preparations are. These guys are in column formation. I've actually decided to turn them around, so these guys are ready to do the about face and go that way. Same thing with these guys. These guys are going to pretend that I'm pushing out this way. I'm going to continue to draw the cavalry out this way, pull my opponent into thinking that I'm going to be fighting, trying to envelop this flank, whereas I'm actually going around the other side. So you'll be seeing these guys real briefly turning around. Another reason I have them in column, yep, there you go, is because they can do an about face very quickly, much quicker than if they were in line. And now, look at this, I'm going to be swinging the entirety of those forces over there. Now, he can do one of 2 things. He can reposition or he can charge forward. If he decides to reposition to defend this flank, well then these troops are going to have to swing forward out of position. As they move out of position, that's when I would move up the center to match him. If he charges against me in the center, that's fine. I'll just keep swiveling over here, try and catch these guys unawares. And if he tries to charge to the center, I do now have his flank. Basically, I have a threat to his flank over there. So that's what I'm doing. My opponent, at the same time, is not really reacting so much in the way that I was anticipating. He's kind of just staring me down, waiting to see what I do. I guess he thinks I'm nervous to attack and I'm not planning anything. So he moves up his cav here. Now, over on this flank, this is my prime target. This is where I'm going to come crashing through with my heavy infantry. I mean, look at this. It's not covered by any of these chasseurs, and these troops are severely outclassed by my own, not foot, but the reinforcements coming in, foot guards, and Coldstream guards, the best British units right there. In addition to that, I also have cavalry units who are going to be pushing the flanks, trying to get around his side. Now he's going to realize the sort of the folly of his mistake, and he's going to charge forward. So how do you react to this? Well, there's a couple things you can do. What I would recommend in the face of this is probably all-out retreat. So that's what I'm doing. Try and bide your time. Try and strike where it's you're going to get the most results. So what I decide to do is hold these rifles here. They're in the woods. They're not going to take much damage. So they're going to hold back against my opponent's forces. They're just going to stand here, and they're going to allow these guys to reform. And I'm waiting for these guys to have an opportunity to attack. I'm going to pull them back at the moment. Now, over here, columns moving. These guys are tired, but they're moving quickly. These cavalry are now getting around the flank. He hasn't noticed me. These guys are now picking off these guys. I'm also going to try and hold this force back by charging forward. Yes, he gets an initial volley. These guys are going to come up close and do more damage. Here his cavalry is anticipating an attack. You can see the way he's forming up. Skirmishers, line, and horse, all of those can shoot at the same time, so I'm not about to face those guys head on. What I do instead is get these foot up close and start picking off at this flank. These elite troops are here. I'm getting the initial shots off with the rifles, and now this is the crux of the plan where I'm charging in on his guys. He doesn't necessarily get into square, but what it does is I do initial damage, pull these guys out, and now with my foot guards and cold stream, now we're going to begin mopping up operations. I have to owe the success of my plan to these guys. These guys are holding up the entire French army, and they're not dying. 37 of them still remaining, and yeah, that's going to be what's allowing me to pull off this maneuver here. So cold stream is moving in. These guys are getting point blank range. These guys are coming in to disrupt this entire flank, and I'm attempting a feint with my German light legion. I'm waiting for these guys to actually reposition, which is exactly what I'm forcing them to do by this cavalry charge. Yep, there he goes into square. I'm going to retarget these guys onto these forces, and these guys now are going to be dying. So perfect charge, backed up with these units. It's going to keep them from retreating, and now my elite troops are going to get up close and deal the damage that they were intended to do. Meanwhile, over here, these guys are still alive. They've only lost 10 men since last we looked at them, and that's mostly due to the cover and the fact that he hasn't moved up his main line. If he were to move up with his cavalry, I do have that covered with these rifles, and now these troops are waiting for an opportunity to engage. Additionally, I have more guys here, and now I am just crumbling his forces here. Yep, my own cavalry broke through this Polish legion. These are good troops, by the way, but due to the shock and awe that I had with my combined forces firing on all his men and a cavalry charge, I could rout them at half strength. Same goes for these guys here. They're half strength, and now they're going to be routing. So that frees up my guys immediately without taking too much damage. There you go. They're actually shattered. Moving in with these guys fully loaded. These guys are ready to rock and roll. These lines are going to be moving up to support, and now I'm going to be crumbling this guy all out retreat on his part. Polish Legion routing. What that does as well is the second these guys start to peel off to face my front, well then these guys are fully exposed, which is what I'm going to be trying to exploit with these cavalry units here. They're going to be charging into the side. His own chasseurs cheval are going to be chasing down my guys, so that's going to be the end of them running around. Although I think some of them will manage to escape. Nope, doesn't look like it. So his cavalry have all been deployed over here. What that means is, well, this side is left unguarded. So now see how he's losing his deployment? That's exactly when you charge forward with your guys. These guys are no longer supporting them. Now we're going to go ahead and rack this this flank. These guys are additionally going to move forward. Contingency plan for these cavalries to position these guys here, and I deployed stakes for me to fall back on. There we go, charging right into these guys, dealing death to where before he had an advantage. Yeah, I'm losing a decent amount of guys, but it's providing me the amount of cover to move up. And look at this, just because I have one cavalry unit here, distracted 3 of his units. So that's exactly what you have to do against these forces. Render some of them impotent, just by the sheer presence of your troops, and then feigning an attack on one side and attacking the other. Gonna be moving these guys. I know I can take them. Young guard, yeah, but I have 2 foot, 1 foot guard, rifles. I have too much firepower for him to handle. I'm going to just pour on the pressure, get up close. That's something you have to do in Napoleon is sometimes not be afraid of that initial volley and just get up in the thick of it, especially if you have these elite troops. Yeah, they're going to deal a lot of damage. Pushing up, continuing to push up here where I did damage. Yeah, these cavalry are going to be killed, but any of these guys who are up close, let's take a look at this from this perspective. These guys are going to get just shat on, basically. There you go, volley after volley, diminishing these guys where he had an advantage, now I do. Full out retreat. Once he retreats, that's where you want to harass with these guys here. So perfect time to engage with these hussars. So you see here, he can either move these guys and attack this front, but once he does that, I charge in. So he's forced to kind of be at an awkward position. Get some initial shots off, and I'm going to try and reposition them to do damage, and at the same time not attack from the very front. So I'm going to pull off. Every time I do that, these guys are forced to stand still and not commit to the fight here, which just adds to my aura of invincibility and the sort of the rolling attack that I've got going here. I begin to pull back. I want to rally with my flank secured behind these stakes. These guys, see again, now he has too many guys. His flank is overbalanced. That's what I'm doing. I'm forcing him to have guys who are inactive, and then I push the center where I have the advantage. So troops firing over his own skirmishers, Yeah, he'll win in an extended fight, but I have more troops. King's German Legion, those guys are going to do a lot of damage. General's in the background. Now his troops can finally start trying to curl up my flank, but 10th Hussars are going to be coming in. Take a look at the map again. His troops are not committed. Now they're going to try and come in, but you can see just how long it takes for them to get here. These guys are going to fall back. All these units, Foot Guard, Coldstream Guard, they're going to be more than enough to handle these Chasseurs à Cheval, especially with the trees here. That's going to provide cover from the incoming fire they will have. These guys can form up in square, as you can see me doing. These guys are going to pull back behind here. This engagement is still going on. Charging through here, didn't do much damage, but at least they're in square, they can engage. Over here, Chasseurs à Cheval, yep, they can't do much. They're taking a lot of damage, doing some shots to me. I drop out of square in order to deal death to these guys. They're going to be charging in soon. Continuing to fall back on the flanks where I don't need to, and that leaves more of his guys exposed, while in the center keeping up the firefight. These guys are going to continue to charge in, and they really don't have anywhere to go. They're funneled into my guys right here, who are now in square. These guys are going to form up in square too, so the entirety of his cavalry force, yeah, maybe they get a little bit of a charge in there, but most of them are going to get destroyed. His troops over here that were already weakened are now going to face the front of my Coldstream Guards, the most elite of the British troops. Boom, putting on volley fires. That's going to crumble this flank. These guys are only going to be shooting the backs of his cavalry, so at all times, keep your angles straight, or not straight, but be mindful of your angles. Over here, finally he wrapped up my cavalry, but yeah, these guys lost 20 men and no men there, but yeah. At least I was able to delay them, kill these guys. This is weak enough, and now I'm going to have to reform these guys to face his men here. The general's going to be moving up to help rally these guys, and now he's curling up against me. But the problem is these guys, they're just overlapping, and now I'm picking off this flank. Those guys are going to start reeling from the damage, and yep, crumbled, destroyed this front because he didn't have enough troops in the center. Because of his thin line formation, that's where I punctured through. Guys who charged there, yeah, they're going to be destroyed. I'm going to reform. Again, he's sort of overcommitting to this thin line idea. It's decent for getting all your shots off, but I'm able to break through in certain positions, especially here. A lot of ground, once one unit retreats, is going to be opened up for an attack. Over here, these guys are holding the flank, forcing the entirety of this force back. Gives me more time here. His general was needlessly positioned here. He was right behind the line. He was in perfect place to help rally them. It didn't work, and now he's just going to be sniped by my guys. And now he's going to order them to retreat, but I should get volleys off, although I don't think he dies. Here, young guards should be able to take my guys. I'm going to sacrifice these foot guards here and reform my line for the greater good and try and charge these guys here. Seeing that his flank is exposed, he's going to start falling back, so these guys are actually going to get some more shots off. Now you can see what my strategy was. Broke the right, and then his flanks were essentially split. You can see how his center, that was too weak once I charged with my cavalry, I broke through the center, and now his army is split. And yeah, I can divert. Because I'm in the middle, I can send whatever men I want to either side and get local superiority there. My opponent is now in all-out retreat mode. He's going to try and join up his forces. When you see this happening, you have to know ahead of time what his plan is. Obviously, his problem here is his forces are split. He's going to try and reform. Instead of charging directly after them, go for the intended path. And I know he's going to want to meet up in the middle. I'm going to prevent him from doing that. So this road is where I'm going. Straight up the center. Keep him from joining. Keep pressing that wedge between his forces. So let's go ahead and fast forward. It's going to be a lot of this sort of kiting. His men are going to keep going back. What I would do is turn these guys around, get off some shots, then retreat them. These guys are turned around, get off some shots, keep doing a staggered retreat, something like that. But because of the pressure I have here, yeah, these guys are never going to be able to turn around. And my rifles are chasing him. They're going to be able to get some good shots off on his men. Yeah, you got to be wary, though, as you do this. Your opponent may, all of a sudden, as you're chasing them, like this, yeah, turn around, do an about face, and charge you. So that's when I decide to form up here. I know, this wedge is covered by my forces. If he wants to walk across here, boom, I get some shots off. He's still going to attempt a little bit of that. These guys, I caught up with them. They're tired. My guys were just winded. So that's some of the benefit I had with my troops. I held them in reserve. My opponent was forced to react a bit to what I had, especially with his thin lines. These guys charge forward, try and get off some shots. I get the initial volleys, and now I'm reinforcing with Coldstream Guards. Again, these guys are total badasses. More foot here. Skirmishers dealing death from the side. And yeah, under the pressure, boom, these guys are going to collapse. Let's go ahead and watch the Coldstream Guards. I can't get enough of these guys. They're so good. Just get some volleys off. More and more volleys against the French. They're going to crumble here. And this last unit, yeah, I figure let's go ahead and take him out with my general. Again, another problem with the thin lines is cavalry come crashing right through. My general was able to take out these guys. There you go, shatter them. Backup volleys are going to do more damage. Over here, my guys are putting more shots on him. He's going to keep retreating, but he's retreating into a corner at this point. There you go. There you have it. That's how you mop up these troops. Something I wanted to point out that you guys have been asking is, no, I'm not using any mods. This is just how the smoke effects look. It's definitely really cool, and I enjoy it. Some of you had recommended, I think, Napoleon Total War 3 or something like that. That's a popular mod. I don't know. I've never used mods for Napoleon. Maybe it's something I'll try out. Also here, these are going to be Young Guard. They get pretty good rates of fire, so I'm just going to hold back, out of range, let him come to me, and press the advantage on the flank that I have. So now this is where we were in the beginning of the battle, where this was me, and I was outflanked and outnumbered, but now the tables have turned. So definitely a cool way to use historic strategies. As I said, that was inspired at least from the Battle of Gaugamela. And yeah, it worked wonders. So, some strategies are relatively timeless, and they can carry on. Something that I recommend you guys use in all your battles, and something I'll try and, if it ever springs to mind, I'll definitely try and point that out and show how you guys can use such tactics. General is going to be a very active, kind of a bloodthirsty general. He's going to be moving around here, hoping to get the flank attack on these guys. He decided to move up to engage my guys. I think he accepts his fate. Or at least he's going to get some volleys on my outnumbered troops. Hope to rout them. These are foot guards, however, so they shouldn't be routing anytime soon. Especially with the numbers we have here. Knowing that he got off volleys, I'm going to move the rest of my guys here. They should be safe. These guys are going to continue to reform. Probably not the best idea considering he's within range. Oh, no, I guess he's not. But anyways, I'm going to move up against here and, yeah, take out his flank. Continue to get shots off. His guys are reforming, and yeah, they're going to shatter pretty soon. His general is going to get hit by the crossfire if he doesn't move, so he's going to start scooting on out. He does get an initial volley, but let's watch the return volley. Oh. Are we going to shoot? Oh, no, guess they're out of range. Let's watch these guys then. I think I'll move them up. Yep, just standard foot. Everyone's getting their shots off. Lots of fun. This general, I swear, is gonna... Wow. That's a really tragic sight from a French perspective right here. Looking at the British surrounding you on all sides. Shots coming in. And he's gonna tuck tail and run here. So that'll be the end of the battle. I hope you guys enjoyed. And look at this. Yep, he outnumbered me by 400. But I just absolutely slaughtered him right here. So we can even go ahead and take a look at the unit statistics, see what happened. Specifically, these 10th Hussars who came in from the side definitely did damage. I want to look for my Coldstream. Oh no, King's German Legion. So these guys were leading the attack on the right flank, driving that wedge. When I reposition and attack the right, they got a ton of kills. And even my general got more kills than deaths. And yeah, that's going to be it. Great battle, great tactics. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope to see you next time as well. See ya.